Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, the creation, chapter 7, the son of Drona punished, text 24. So we heard last lessons or last verses, how Ashvatam has thrown a Brahmastra and Arjun prays helpless to the Supreme Lord. And this is the continuation of his prayer. Saiva jiva lokasya maya mohita setasa vidatse svena viryana Shreyodharma Dilakshanam. Translation. And yet, though you are beyond the purview of the material energy, you execute the four principles of liberation characterized by religion and so on for the ultimate good of the conditioned souls. So, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada gives an essential overview of our entire philosophy, a few lines. Purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. The personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, out of his causeless mercy, descends on the manifested world without being influenced by the material nature. Is eternally beyond the material manifestations. He descends out of his causeless mercy only to reclaim the fallen souls who are captivated by the illusory energy. They are attracted by the material energy and they want to enjoy her under false pretext. Although in essence, the living entity is unable to enjoy. One is eternally the servitor of the Lord. When he forgets his position, he thinks of enjoying the material world, but factually is in illusion. The Lord descends to eradicate this false sense of enjoyment and thus reclaim conditioned souls back to Godhead. That is the all-merciful nature of the Lord for the fallen souls. I read this translation once again. And yet, though you are beyond the view of the material energy, you execute the four principles of liberation characterized by religion, and so on, for the ultimate good of the conditioned souls. Om Jnana Timandasya Jananchalam Shlakam Shakshunvitam Yena Tasmai Shigave Namah Chichaitanyamanopistam Staptam Yena Bhutam Svamrupakadamyam Dadati Svamrupakadam Vadantikam Pandyam Shivu Shiyuda Padkam Nam Shigam Vaishnavam Sha Shirupam Jagajatam Sakan Raganatam Pitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savrupam Parjana Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Saganalita Shivishakam Pitam Sha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jatpate Gopesha Kopka Kanta Radha Kanta Namastatu Tapta Kansana Gauragira Devanda Vanashvara Vishabhan Sudadevi Pranamama Hari Priya Pankha Kalpta Visha Kripa Sindhavi Visha Patnam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhaktavina Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padai Krishna Vistaya Bhattali Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namo Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pachani Nirvashesha Srinivadi Paskachani Vasatarani. So Krishna is beyond the purview of the material energy. Krishna is the original person. It's called Adi Purush. So in the creation, there is an original person. Srila Prabhupada makes on his lecture on this verse. Original person. Krishna is the original person. And this is confirmed by Vedic literature, like in the Bhagavatam, it said, this is the first verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Chatushloki, 2933. Aham same bhakhe nanyanyat satasat param asatam yateta shayo vifashisheta so smayam. Brahma, it is I, the personality of Godhead, who was existing before the creation, when there was nothing but myself, nor was there the material nature, the cause of this creation. That which you see now is also I, the personality of Godhead, and after annihilation, what remains will also be I, the personality of Godhead. So this is a definition of God, is the original person. And we know that Arjuna, who is speaking here, who is praying to Krishna, had already understood this. Because in Bhagavad Gita, in the 10th chapter, verse 12, he says, Arjuna vacha param brahma param dhamma pavitram paramam bhavan purusham susvadam divyam adi devam ajam vibhu. Arjuna said, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ultimate abode, the purest, the absolute truth. You are the eternal, transcendental, original person, the unborn, the greatest. So it says, you are the original person, Arjuna saying. Adi Devam, the original person. So if Krishna is the original person, then who is the origin of Krishna? That may be a valid question. That answer is in the Brahma Samhita. How Krishna is the original person. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sakshidana Vika Anadiradia Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. There you have the word Anadir. The cause of Krishna is Anadar, Anadir. That means there is no cause. So that is God, Prabhupada says. So Prabhupada said, if we go back, who is my father, then who is his father, who is his father, and you go back, then finally, where do you come? To Brahma. Who is Brahma? Teni Brahma Hridaya Adhikavi. This Brahma is coming from Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. And Garbhodakashayi Vishnu is an expansion from Karnodakashayi Vishnu, who is coming from Sankarsan. Sankarsan is coming from Aniruddha, and Aniruddha comes from Pradyumna. And like that, it continues to another Sattva line, then to Balaram, and then to Krishna. Ultimately, it comes to Krishna. So Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Mata Partam Nanyat, the 7th chapter. There's no cause superior to me. So that is essentially in our devotional service, that we recognize Krishna's position. That so he's the cause of everything. But we as living entities, we are always conditioned. What does it mean, conditioned? Conditions means we have to fulfill conditions, Prabhupada says. that to go to the spiritual world, we need to fulfill conditions. So in a prison house, you need to abide by certain conditions. But if we don't want to fulfill these conditions, then we will never be satisfied. We will never be satisfied until we engage in pure devotional service. Pure devotional service is explained by Sutta Goswami as Savaipusa Parudharmo Yato Bhaktor Adoxe Ahait Kapatiyatayat Mashabashidasi. Pure devotional service. That pure devotional service is service executed just with Ahait Kapatiyata, just to please Krishna, from nothing else. And when one does that always, then one is fully satisfied. That the Yatma Supashidati means Supashidati. Pashidati is satisfied. Supashidati is very satisfied. But unless we come to that point, we will never be satisfied. Because why? Because we have all our original relationship with Krishna as servants. So unless we live in a relationship with Krishna, we will never feel satisfied. Now we will live in a relationship with this material world, and so many relationships in this material world which are very temporary, but that will never give us satisfaction. It's rather a cause of frustration. Why? Because only devotional service. It is said a few verses before that in this chapter that we are discussing, we have Srila Prabhupada's realizations. And he says, Yasyam Vaishuyamana Yam Krishna Parnapurushe Bhakti Utpatyate Pumsa Sukha Moha Bhayapaha. Sukha means lamentation, Moha illusion, Bhaya fear is all eradicated if we give oral reception to this Vedic literature. Then that feeling for love for Krishna will come. So that's important. Hearing the Bhagavatam every day, unless we hear the Bhagavatam every day, then that feeling will not come. How can I evaluate my spiritual life? Do I make progress? Just ask the question, do I hear the Bhagavatam every day? Yes or no? If the answer is no, you are not making progress. It's simple. That no, we have to hear. And that's sometimes a disease in our movement. The devotees are not hearing the Bhagavatam anymore. And therefore, and Prabhupada discusses that in his lecture on the verse that we are discussing right now. And it goes to these teachings of Prahlad Maharaj, where Prahlad Maharaj says to his father, Materna Krishna Paratos Vatofa. You, my father, you will never become Krishna conscious, he says. Not by instructions of others, nor by your own efforts, nor by combination of both. Where his father was certainly not hearing the Bhagavatam or chanting Hare Krishna. But, and why did he not do that? Because that is the question. We have so many intellectuals intelligent people, but they do not take up devotional service. Why is that? And Prahlad Maharaj said, Mitobi Bhatiyet Kriya Vatanam, Anandaka Pirafishatam Tamisham Punasmanasavta Saunam, Mitobi Bhatiyet Kriya Vatanam. that they are Shriyavatana means they are addicted to the materialistic way of life and don't want to give it up. Everything for the body. That everything for the body, for my country, for my family, for my wife, husband, that they don't want to give it up. That, and why why are they not wanting to give it up? Een ander probeert is het aan te gaan. Een ander probeert, because their senses are uncontrolled. They have become godas. They have become the servant of their senses. So yeah, becoming the servant of the senses. Therefore, in Krishna consciousness, we need to be trained from the beginning. That restrict your eating to what you need. A devotee usually eats very little in the morning, a banana or something. And at noontime, he eats what he can digest. And mostly that is it for the rest of the day. That's a steer. Starving the senses, Prabhupada says. That then we can digest what we can digest. We eat what we can digest. And that's good for health. But no, people are addicted to eating because of the urge to eat that, and they become slaves from eating. And then what is the result of that? That Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, in the 2nd chapter, that verse 48, 47, 46, 2 moments, is Bhogashvara Prashaktanantaya Pritasita. So because they are too much attached to sense gratification, their mind becomes disturbed. And that's the cause of our unhappiness. So you eat with the tongue and the senses, but subtly your mind becomes disturbed by this addiction. And your life becomes centers around the senses. The mind leads you to do always the same thing. That eating, sleeping, defending, sex, whatever. Always doing the same thing, chewing the chewed. That and they try to get pleasure from the body, which is just a combination of flesh, pus, stool, urine, blood. That so that is the problem, why they don't take up. And because their senses are uncontrolled in their mind, so absorbed in sense gratification, it becomes their world. It becomes their attraction for everything. And Natevitu Svartagati Krishna. They forget their real interest. Real interest. Real interest means from the real self. The real self. That means the spirit soul. That because they don't know that the goal of life is Krishna. So they have other goals. And all the other goals we find in so many ism, capitalism, socialism, populism, so many ism today that and So their life is wasted in these goals. And instead of becoming or using their very valuable human life, they use it like to live like cats and dogs. Because Turasya Yebair Achta Manina. This means Yebair, that Bayer means external sense objects. Achta Manina, they consider it very valuable. Everything in this world they become attached to because they like to enjoy it. And such persons are they are blind to the goal of life. And one blind man leads another blind man but they are both conditioned by their senses and their mind. Because the conditioning comes through the senses and the mind. If you don't control the senses, the mind will take over. And will give us feelings of happiness when the senses are satisfied, and will give us this stress it will give us this stress when the senses are not satisfied, and that is the cause of our deep identification with the body. We become so attached with the body, which we are not, and which we are about to leave. But then, what is the solution? Nashimati Stavarukram Gins Persatyan Arto Paramaya Tarta Maya Sampadarajobisikam Nikinsanam Avinityavat. Unless they smear upon their bodies the dust of the lotus feet of a Vaishnava, completely free from material contamination, persons very much inclined to materialistic life cannot be attached to the lotus feet of the Lord, who is glorified by his uncommon activities. Only by becoming Krishna conscious and taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, in this way can one become free from contamination. So only the pure devotee of Krishna, association with the pure devotee of Krishna, can save us. We associate with the pure devotee of Krishna by hearing Bhagavatam and Prabhupada's commentaries. That we associate with the pure devotee by engaging in his mission. So, what's the conclusion? The pure devotee engages everyone in devotional service. So devotional service is the ultimate good for the conditioned souls. And hearing every day this Bhagavatam will grant us liberation. So that is why Krishna comes, for the ultimate good of the conditioned souls. And he gives us this knowledge, this process, which is coming down to the disciplic succession. And Arjuna has fully understood that. So yes. Any questions?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Please accept my obeisance, Shai Prabhupada, Shai Guru Maharaj.
Maharaj, I have a question. Is You mentioned that the reading Bhagavatam is devotional service. We can keep ourselves in the state of the devotional service. But we saw that sometimes devotees they are also so sincere reading Bhagavatam, all this thing, everyday practicing all this thing. But although they are reading all this thing, but sometimes Maya come and capture them, take away. What is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, then my question is this: they are reading Bhagavatam, they are follow all these things. Why they are divided? Sometimes they leave the ISKCON also.
Yes, that the point is that when you read Srimad Bhagavatam, we must practice the principles of the Bhagavatam. That it's not just reading. What does the Bhagavatam tells us about hearing or reading? Susruso Shadadanasya Vastevikata Chishana Chevyavipa Punya Tirtha Nishevana. One must hear with attention, that's the first thing, and one must please the Mahatma, engage in the service of the Mahatma, engage in the service of the pure devotee. These are two things to do in combination. We say that practically every Bhagavatam lesson, Nastavya Sabhatra Sunityam Bhagavata Sevya Bhagavata Tamasuke Bhakti Bhakti Naistike. But one should regularly attend, by regular attendance of the Bhagavatam class and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart will be destroyed, nearly all destroyed. So these are two things: hearing the Bhagavatam and then bringing it in practice by serving the devotee, the pure devotee. Means, and for us, that means engaging in Srila Prabhupada's mission. That we hear the Bhagavatam and our absorption in Krishna continues while serving, while chanting, whatever we do. Our Krishna consciousness must continue. That you can hear the Bhagavatam and chant some rounds in the morning and the evening and go to work and forget Krishna. That's not the purpose. The purpose is to continue serving Krishna, and his mission means you go to work for earning money, to use in Krishna's service, to use in the service of the Krishna conscious family. That's also Krishna's service. That so both must be there, hearing and practice. Srila Prabhupada says that philosophy without practice is dry speculation. And he says, at the other side, practice without philosophy is sentimentalism. So both must be there, the hearing and the practice. So that is important. Otherwise, because Krishna consciousness is based on our desire. That it means changing our desire. That from changing our desire from serving this body and these senses to serving Krishna. And by hearing the Bhagavatam, the seed is planted for pleasing Krishna, for engaging in his service. The seed of the desire is planted. But one must water that seed by bringing it in practice, by really serving Krishna out of love, without asking something in return. But if we hear the Bhagavatam, and then we are scrolling on the internet and we become attracted to this, and that, and we forget Krishna during the day, and we make plans for our enjoyment. Yes, I will eat pizza this evening and fill my belly. And okay, I will offer it to Krishna. Then you are cultivating a different desire. In the morning, you hear the Bhagavatam, and you get somewhat the desire to serve Krishna, but during the day you do the opposite. So that will not purify the heart. And that is many times the problem. We need a steady morning program from 4 till 8 or 9 in the morning. And that is very important. That I'm traveling a lot, and many times I have no morning program. I have to make my own program. I'm now here in Radhadesh, Belgium, and every morning we have a nice morning program with so many devotees here. That's very inspiring. And I need that also. That gives me inspiration and helps me during the day to think of Krishna. So it's a question of sincerity. You can read the Bhagavatam, without really interest to practice it. No, one must be interested and ask questions. Guru Maharaj said one should study the day before the Bhagavatam class the verse for the next morning and memorize it. And note questions if you have, and then attend the question, the class, and if you have questions, you ask, and then you take notes. Guru Maharaj asked me to take notes. I'm doing that still today, taking notes in the class. And then after the class, revising these notes. How can I practice that? Do I really know how to practice it? So that is seriousness and sincerity. And when that is not there, then there's a problem. And that's a problem in our movement, because when you attend the morning program, you have some practice automatically. It's all included. But if you don't have that, only reading the Bhagavatam and not applying, that's not sincere. That one must really work and surrender to Krishna. It's not an easy process sometimes. But Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that the determination for devotional service will not take place if we are too attracted to sense gratification. So you must want to give that up. And that requires effort. That requires we have to go beyond our comfort zone. That Krishna consciousness is not meant to live a nice life in this world. That's not the purpose. This is meant to purify us and to develop love of Krishna and to transcend these modes and become happy forever. So yes, that is the process, and in the process there are there are obstacles. Paripantina, Krishna says in 334 Bhagavad Gita. Raga and Dvesha. One must want, one should not, after hearing the Bhagavatam, one should not act according to one's attachment and aversion related to the body, but must learn to acts according to the attachment and aversion of a pure soul, but accept what's good for devotional service and rejects what's bad for devotional service. All this looks overwhelming, and finally, to overcome this, we need the mercy of a pure devotee. We need the mercy of Guru Maharaj. We need the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and all the senior devotees to overcome that. Without that mercy, sometimes we may fall down and slip. But that slipping should become less and less as we advance. So, does that help you, Indriyas Prabhu?
Yes, Maharaj, thank you. Good answer. Very
Yeah.
good answer.
Good.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Yeah,
Hare
thank you so much. Maharaj. And Indiresh Prabhu also nice question, and Maharaj nice answer. Nice guidance for all of us. Thank you. Maharaj, my question is more related to parenting, because more often than none is the kids want to do certain items, like either it is watching a movie, or they want us also to be part of them, or they wanted to eat different things, like different snacks, or outside things. Restricting for long period is very difficult, especially when in this country, when they are by themselves and they have their own thought process, and even the culture here is they are more independent, so repressing them for more time is very difficult. They become more negative. So wanted to understand some guiding principle, that how we can balance so that we can guide them better.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Then, of course, it's good to take guidance for that from other parents who have experience with that. I can only give general guidance in that, but that it's very important for these young boys and girls that they are associating with kids from other devotees, that so that we keep them as much in the devotional atmosphere. But finally, it's one aspect what Prabhupada many times said is devotional service is voluntarily. That so we can never force our children to take up devotional service. We can only inspire them and give them opportunities to associate with other boys and girls of their age in summer camps or so many ways that but yes, that many times parents have expectations for their children, but it goes always different. It will always be different. But I've seen many times there is a time in this kid's life they have coming from parents of Krishna consciousness, and then for some time they want to experience the material world in their own way, but later they come back. Many come back later. I've seen. Yeah, I see it every day also here in Radhadesh, that children of devotees, many, I would say 1/3 of the morning program of the devotees world are second generation, but elder already. Over 30, 40 years old, but second generation. They come back. And that's inspiring. But we can only do our best. Children are part also of our karma and our purification. And we have to accept that. We cannot fight against it. That as parents, but it's important, try to engage in activities they like in Krishna consciousness. Try to spark, to try to inspire them to do things they like to do in Krishna consciousness. Because if we restrict them, that may get the opposite effect. Of course, we have our limits. They should not eat meat and all these things. But between certain boundaries, we must give them freedom of a certain moment. No way we can avoid. And as a parent, we should be concerned, but not be too attached. That concern is normal. We want them to become pure devotees of Krishna. That, But I think it's also good with them to go to India, to see temples, to see holy places. They get taste for that. And it's for them also kind of adventure to go to these holy places where they have not been, that they get acquainted with the Indian culture in which they are born in some way or another, but if they come in India, they are not exposed to what, hopefully, to what they are exposed in America. Anyway, that's what I can say. During this talk, I got just a phone call I could not answer for my son. But yeah, is also nothing I can do for him at the moment. But I talk with him and try to inspire him that, very carefully. Hare Krishna.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Maharaj.
Good.
So, Maharaj, if you allow and I have time, just one extended question to that, if that is okay.
Yeah.
So, Maharaj, from our involvement perspective, because depending on the kid's age, they want us to get involved in their activities. So sometimes it is possible, but sometimes then it becomes like the mind is not interested. If they wanted to us to sit with them and watch movie or play particular game or eat something which we don't want to do it, but they then they feel that, oh, we are not connected with them. So like what should be the guiding principle in that case?
Yeah, it's good to talk with them and to explain the principles, why you are not doing it. That's explaining things very nicely, but at the same time, not pushing them in any direction, but explain them why. That so that they understand and try to help them to remain, to cultivate respect for other visions than what they are into for the moment. That I think that's important, to be both minded, but at the same time clearly explain that you can use Krishna conscious philosophy and explain them. That because it's very important that they understand they are not this body. That and that Yeah. So
Yeah,
yes,
sometimes Maharaj, sorry Maharaj, please.
yes, please.
No, I was just saying sometimes I'm very scared that, if we are, sometimes we feel like we are pushing them so much that they become completely, opposite to, what we expect them to be. They become more defensive when they become, more disconnected.
Yeah, that's yeah, of course, defensive means those who have got Gurukuli training, they are mostly, yeah. Anyway, that's my experience in observing that. But it's good to remain an attitude of respect, and you can tell them, if you want that, I respect that, but consider these points and then give them the freedom. Because you pushing too much, that's not helping. Pushing is not helping. Only inspiring is helping. That and let them go there, make their own life. They have come in contact with Krishna consciousness, and they have to seek their own path. Because now they are still young, but in a few years they become adult. You have to let them go. You have to let them go.
Yes.
And pray to Krishna in their heart that to guide them. That Prabhupada that also, but when he came in Australia, he installed the deities. He was praying to the deities. I'm leaving you now in the hands of the Malachas. Please educate them. So we can also pray like that to Krishna in the heart of our sons or daughters and say, you are the controller, Krishna. Please help to educate them, Krishna consciousness. I have no power. That, but we can only do our best. Does that help?
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you so much,
Okay,
Maharaj.
good. Then we will see next week for the next class, Krishna willing, the next verse. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Jai Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. जय भक्ति प्रभा महाराज की जय.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Guru Maharaj ki
जय.